Okay, so let's go to our guest that we have today. Dr. Catherine Coleman is a clinical psychologist, and Florina Altschuler is a criminal defense attorney. And since I have Florina in studio, they are always getting first crack. Florina, what do you think about, I asked my other guests in the previous hour, Alex Jones isn't in the courtroom, but he's outside the courtroom. He's outside talking about how un-American this process is, how the judges found him guilty before he had an opportunity to argue the merits, but he has gone into default, which is something that, as I was indicating before on the previous hour, is something that happens every day in every state, in every county, when people refuse to follow court orders, and they are then told, if you do not do X by Y, you will be held in default. You'll no longer be able to argue the merits. It'll only be about damages. Are the statements that are being made outside the courtroom by Mr. Jones fair or unfair?
Look, Bob, he's obviously trying to try this in front of the media, but the reality is there's a jury that's going to be deciding this, and the jury's not hearing what he's saying outside to the media. And as far as the media is concerned, they'll report on what they're reporting, but what the jury is hearing is that he's not there, that he can't be bothered to show up, and he does not care.
Yeah, not a good look, but I just want to make sure it's clear. It's true that the comments that he's making are outside the courtroom, but what concerns me is what's happening in our country with regard to people that are listening to statements that he's making outside the courtroom, which are not under oath, and they're not legally correct, and he's affecting people with respect to the manner in which they perceive the case, and it's just adding more and more fuel to a fire for people who seem to believe this.
Yeah, and the problem really with him making these statements to the media and him getting these press conferences is he's further igniting an outrage in a segment of society that's very anti-government, pro-conspiracy theory, and in my opinion, potentially breeding that fuel for other terrorists.
Yeah, so Florina, I mean, you see a person that's anguished giving you the reasons why he's in court, and there's no apologies coming for this. There's doubling down on it, and it appears that no matter what, the followers, the more that you attack people that are doing things like Alex Jones, the more they dig in to support him. I'm curious, in your mind, we'll ask the psychologist in a moment, is this just for ego in your mind, or is this something bigger? Is it just greed? Is it an emotional thing? It's very hard for me to figure out. What do you think?
Well, legally, he's in a losing position. Liability's been determined. It's been determined that he committed defamation. The claim survives that portion, and now it's really just a question of money damages and how much. So there's not much he could do to defend himself, and he's trying to play the doubling down conspiracy theory. This entire court trial itself is a manipulation, and I'm just going to further breed these conspiracy theories game. Is that a good legal strategy? Absolutely not. But I'm sure our co-guest here will talk to us about the psychology behind it.
Yeah, Florina, tell me about what this trial is about. It's obviously about damages. There's compensatory damages, possibly punitive damages. Explain to our audience what that breakdown means in the real world, in layman's terms.
So what I find particularly interesting is that this trial is in Texas, and Texas very recently had one of the largest plaintiffs' verdicts ever. It was $70 billion, not million, billion dollars in an unrelated case. This case here is so egregious, and him not even being bothered to show up to sit through the trial, I think will very likely result in a damages award, again, in the billions, if not tens of billions of dollars. Compensatory is to make whole the plaintiff, so to compensate them for actual losses, maybe counseling costs, any bills that they had as a result of this, the pain and suffering that they had. Punitive damages is specifically to punish the plaintiff. And here, I think he's giving the jury a lot of reason to punish him. And I would not be surprised if this is one of the largest verdicts that we've ever seen.
Wow, that is really quite a statement. And you certainly have teed it up and did a great job at explaining what those damages are. Him not being there may even exacerbate those damages. Okay, well, it's time for us now to hit another quick break.